Hello, I am Dr. Ashalata Shakar Terdal, Associate Professor from JSS Art Science and Commerce College, Gokak. I am here to present a play, Julius Caesar by William Shakespeare. It has been prescribed for BS 6 semester optional English students. It is in paper 2, section A for the RC University, Belgaum. Julius Caesar has been the greatest tragedy by William Shakespeare. Ben Jonson called Shakespeare not of an age but of all ages. To him, Shakespeare was also the soul of the age. He wrote for Elizabethan audience. The age of Shakespeare was fertile mainly due to the influence of Renaissance. His plays are full of classical mythology and lore. Music is a passion with his characters and constantly wafts through his plays. He is often called England's national poet and nicknamed the Bard of Avon. Shakespearean tragedy may in the simplest terms be stated as a story of exceptional calamity and sorrow, leading mostly to the death of the hero, the high state. We have the greatest tragedies of Shakespeare. He has written the early tragedies. He has written comedies. He has also written historical plays, which are very interesting. As we have the tragedies here, Julius Caesar, Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, Romeo and Juliet, and King Lear. So, talking about Julius Caesar, actually is the real man once who lived. Caesar's biography was written in Plutarch's Lives of the Noble, Grecians and Romans. Caesar is a powerful Roman political and military leader who lastly gets stabbed in the back, particularly from a group of conspirators who are supposed to be his friends. Statues of Julius Caesar still found in the museum today. So it has been a greatest tragedy by William Shakespeare. The themes of Julius Caesar have been depicted by Shakespeare. That's the goodness of loyalty, honor, and friendship. You can see the loyalty of Antonio and the honor of him and the friendship of Antonio here. Shakespeare advocates benevolent monarchy. That's a kingship. Some believe that republicanism means freedom. It has been almost a fight between republicanism and monarchy. The theme of the bondage versus freedom, which fades after Antonio's speech. When he makes the speech and changes the audience outlook towards Caesar. Evil of pride, anarchy, and conspiracy. Conspirators fear Caesar's absolute power. So they have the fear about Caesar that he is going to capture and become a dictator. That was the main reason for them to make a plot. There is a kingship and Caesarism. The theme of tyranny has been also presented. And Shakespeare has sensitively presented the behavior of the mob, how the mob reacts, how the folk talk, and how the language can move the mob, the governance through monarchies dictatorship or democracy. The people are important here and their opinions are also valid here. The theme of jealousy, ambition, and human weakness has been also presented in the play, particularly. Exaggerated sense of honor is a dangerous defect in the conspirators. They always talk about the honor, they think they are the most honorable man, particularly speaking about Brutus. Antony always referred to him as honorable man. Conflict between an idealist is torn between personal loyalty and physical principles. So we can give the example of Brutus here. He is very loyal, of course, to Caesar, but he is also ruled by philosophical principles of his own. Now he has to choose between Caesar and his nation. He thinks he can choose the nation instead of his friend. This allows for political order. Now we have an interesting list of the characters here. We have the conspirators on the one side. We have the triumvirate on the other side. In the list of the conspirators, we have Casca, Decius Brutus, Cinna, Cassius. Then we have again the Brutus. We have the Lucius. We have an interesting character, Portia, who is the wife of Brutus. Then we have Triumvirate, Octavius, Mark Antony, and Lepidus. They are the allies. So California is the wife of Julius Caesar. There is a soothsayer who is giving warning that he must be careful about the people. Particularly, he foresees the death of Caesar and talks about the future death and gives a warning. We have the Artemides also. So these are the very interesting characters depicted by Shakespeare. Strength and weaknesses of the characters can be seen here. We have the interesting character, the protagonist, Julius Caesar. He has the strength. He is called as a charismatic leader. Charisma, like spreading the magic spell on the people. The people used to follow his words just as the flock would follow. Then he was very confident. The people had become the follower of Julius Caesar, but he was very confident, more human than you would think. But people think that he is a dictator. There has been weaknesses. He is arrogant, has developed enemies, and sometimes he oversees the things, doesn't take anything serious. Then we have interesting character, the best friend of Julius Caesar, Antonio, who takes revenge for the death of Caesar. He has the strength, persuasive speaking that launches action. He is very good in communication. His language is good. He turns the mob. Then, of course, he has weakness when nobody likes the brown noser. Then we have California, who has got her strengths in touch with the prophetic dreams. That she dreams that her husband, Julius Caesar, is to be killed. She has seen a dream. Dreams might come true. That was the thing that's haunting her mind. She warns her husband not to go near the conspirators, but still he moves. The weaknesses: she is a woman and dismissed. Sigh, like as compared to Portia, she appears to be weak. She is presented as the reflection of Caesar here. We have Brutus. He has the greatest strength. He does have a conscience, defends his backstabbing of Caesar. So he doesn't repent at the beginning that he's the one who stabbed the Caesar at the back. Because he always says he loved Caesar, of course, but loved Rome more than Caesar. Then the weaknesses possibly have knave and unsympathetic. Can be presented as an unsympathetic character without mercy. Then we have another interesting woman character here, Portia, who has the strength, stands up to the Brutus about being excluded, but at the end she has of course the weaknesses, stabs her leg to prove herself. This is the woman. She's a strong character when we compare her to California, and they were very good friends, Brutus and Portia. Let us see the character of Julius Caesar, the main protagonist, who appears at the beginning of the play, and we hear of Julius Caesar throughout the play. And in the middle, he has been assassinated. At the end, we see the ghost of Julius Caesar. That's a spirit. Caesar is a great judge of a character. He could judge the characters. He could read the mind of the people. Caesar's superstition is not covered eyes. He reduced slavery and decreased unemployment. Caesar's fearlessness as merely as an evidence of vanity and winning glory. Sometimes he ignores the warning given by the soothsayer and his wife, of course. If he had listened to it, he had been saved. He is overconfident. He doesn't have display any vacillation of mind either. He is a very strong character. Caesar is ruling spirit of the play. You can see his name has been always heard. He is a man of authority. Whoever sees Caesar thinks that they should be the followers. He is always the leader. He made many reforms as a leader. The people were after him as he is a charismatic leader. He made the people of the conquered lands the official citizens of the Rome, which can be appreciable. Strengths are superhuman. He is a superhero. He was not ambitious, but people mistook him. They thought that he is going to be a great dictator. With the marks, Brutus, pompous, opinionated, and wrongly self-righteous. His judgment is flawed, that he makes a mistake when making a judgment. He thinks the choice he's making is great. He joins a conspirators group. He is respected by all. He is a honorable person, as repeatedly said by Antonio. Whenever he is talking about Brutus, he says Brutus is an honorable man. Despite his flaws, he has many virtues. So I think we see a character here. It's a personality filled with both the wise and the virtue. Surrounded by confusion, he cannot make a strong opinion. He is confused whether to do this. He is almost in dilemma, which is beyond his capacity to resolve. His tragedy lies in his betrayal of friendship. You can never trust a friend like Brutus. He betrays Caesar. So Shakespeare wanted to say, of course there is a great friend like Antony, and of course there is another friend like Brutus who can stab you from the back. He's reflective, philosophic, and idealistic. Dramatic hero Marcus Brutus, inbuilt leadership qualities, makes blunder as a leader. So, when leader makes the blunder, the followers just follow him. And you can see we can never trust this man as a leader. He misguides them, takes them in the wrong direction. Principles bring unending misery. Thinks he is guiding his own principles. He is right. He might be wrong also. He doesn't think in this way. He's a noble person, honorable person, of course. Nobility muffles his influence. We have another interesting character here. As we notice, Cassius is quick-witted, practical, opportunistic, aristocrat and republican, rational philosophy but flawed practice. He was very rational, but he could never bring it in practice. Exist more on emotion. He is very emotional character than logic. You know that the logic works, but he is guided by the emotions. But a courageous soldier and a loyal friend. He has a far-sightedness. He could guess the things, know the things. He had a far-sightedness. But he is not a villain of the play. He is not the villain of the play. There has been a blend of virtue and vice. Virtue and vice. There has been an act of murder which cannot be pardoned. We cannot pardon the person when he has done a greatest mistake. So we have another interesting character, Marcus Antonio. A powerful orator, is a quick-witted man. Through the language, he changes the complete opinion of the mob. Is a good statesman, soldier, general, motivator, and organizer. Some say that he is more than the limb of Caesar. He is very close to the Caesar. And many of them suggested that even he should be killed. But Brutus says he will not kill the person without reason. So they send Antonio away, and only when he is away they try to make a plot against Caesar. Triple pillar of the world by the end of the play. Yes, they form the alliance. And he avenges the death of Caesar. He makes use of the opportunity given to him by Brutus. He makes a beautiful speech. The speech turned the people, and the speech was a remarkable speech. He was a person of changing emotions. He uses his tricks in oratory to incense the crowd. As he was the greatest orator, he could capture the mind of the people, and he turns the mob against Brutus and the conspirators, and proves that Caesar was not a dictator. According to Brutus, he is a tool of Caesar. He is a traveler who enjoys good things of life. He is not a senseless flatterer of Caesar. He doesn't believe in flattery. You know, when there is a person of high esteem or high power, there will be some flatterers around. As Antonio never liked it. Then we have Octavius Caesar, who has been a legal heir of Julius Caesar. Small but significant role, of course, he has. He comes at the end of the play. Established leadership qualities. We believe that he has some leadership qualities, and he has got it from his relative Caesar. He is a brave man. He is portrayed as future head of Rome. He is kind-hearted, restrained in his behavior. He knows the story of Caesar, so he doesn't want to take direct help, and he doesn't depend upon even Antonio. He thinks that he can make some of his own decisions. We are the most important character here again. Casca fulfills his specific purpose. He is the first to stab Caesar from behind. It's uneducated, rude, and unrefined. He lacks kindness and refinement. He is known for the rough mannerism. He's ruled by others. He's directionless, very ambiguous, means very confusing. He doesn't know what to do and what not to, and inconsistent. Says yes, and sometimes he doesn't know about it. His motive is to flatter the powerful. He also loves to flatter the people who are in power so that it will be good for him. He thinks that jealousy and inadequacy, and he gives no reason. He has got a very different type of a personality. Then we have got California, one of the main character here. We know that Shakespeare has created many more beautiful characters like Portia, Cordelia. Here we have California. We have Juliet also. So California is terrified by the storm and by her dream. Contrastingly, she is weaker in status and intelligence. When we compare her with Portia, Portia seems very intelligent, very strong, whereas California is a weaker, uninspiring figure. She is a reflection of Caesar rather. She doesn't want to take any decision of her own. She just acts according to her husband's will. She's weak and appetizing man. She urges to protect her husband. She thought she could protect. She narrates a dream, but nobody listens to her. She displays her terror at the storm and her dreams related to husband's murder. In future it comes true, you can see. California's dream has been realized. We have in Portia, she's the wife of Brutus. Softened, reflection of Brutus. She's very sensitive, filled with tenderness. She kills herself at the end of the play. She is the most responsible woman, a great and a markable character within the short appearance. She appears in a very short period for some time, but makes a very appealing impression on the audience. She is a woman with a virtue. There has been a great ideal relationship between husband and the wife. Then we have Amylus Lepidus. Is a part of the triumvirate. Is a wealthy Roman general, a weak man. Is a mere tool, finally sent to retirement. Appears only once on the stage. He has been an experienced, brave soldier. Antonio neglects him as a poor character. Doesn't give importance to this character. As we notice, Shakespeare has written about the background of Julius Caesar. That's a play. You should know that Shakespeare uses Roman customs and superstitions to depict the dangerous plot being planned. It's depicted through solar eclipses. Some climatic changes are going to occur, that there is a storm, there is a festival, there are goats. They speak of some importance. There are rises of the birds, animals, and a omen. They all say something very secret things which are kept in the secret. They are the dark sides which are never revealed. The drama. Caesar has returned after defeating Pompey. Soothsayer tells Caesar to be aware of 8th of March. But Caesar angrily dismisses it. He doesn't listen to anybody's warnings. Soothsayer has already given a warning. There is a danger. He might be assassinated. But he doesn't take anybody seriously. Cassius and Casca Senna and others as the plot of Caesar's downfall. We have the noble Brutus who loves Caesar dearly, but he says he loves Rome even more. He decides to sacrifice Caesar for the good of Rome, and he thinks he is an honorable man and is torn between emotions and the principles on the other sides. He has his great friend Caesar on the one side, then he has his nation on the other side. When the choice has been given, he chooses Rome to Caesar. There is a terrible storm in the midst of the march. Storm understood that the destruction. The drama, Brutus joins Caesar against. Brutus joins against Caesar and makes a conspiracy. Brutus delivers the final fatal blow. He was the last to stab Caesar, and that kills Caesar because he was his best friend. Antonio seeks the approval of the conspirators to remain close to the body of the Caesar when he has been killed, and avenges the Caesar's murder by showing the wounds of the Caesar, uses his language and changes the mind of the public. The crowd cries of vengeance and justice is done. Vice is punished at the end of the play. We have been looking for some of the quotations, very heart-touching quotations. We know that Shakespeare has some witty dialogues. They talk about the universal truths. We see Julius Caesar saying, "Cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste of death, but once." It's true that he's stupidly boastful when he says, danger knows full well that Caesar is more dangerous than him. We have very famous sayings of Antonio. When Brutus was killed at the end of the play, he says, "This was the noblest Roman of them, all the conspirators, save only he. Fortune is merry, and in this mood will give us anything." Then we have a feminine touch. When Portia says, "May how weak a thing the heart of the woman is," she wants to say that always the heart of a woman is very soft, delicate. And the famous words of Julius Caesar, when he sees his own friend stabbing him at the back, he says, "H.O.D, Bruti." That he's trying to say means the Brutus, you have been also involved in this thing. He's killed by the betrayal of his friend rather than the wound that the knife gives him, the stab that the Brutus gives him. So he's really shocked to death when he sees his own friend stabbing him at the back. Not that I loved Caesar less, but I loved Rome more. These are the famous words of Brutus. Then we have Julius Caesar's statement like, "I am constant as northern star." Very confident words of Caesar. So whenever we have that tragedy, we talk of tragic flaws. We have the ambitious persons here. We see how the language is used to turn the people. Then the play is rightfully bears its name of Caesar here till the end of the play. Shakespeare wanted us to admire Caesar, and the name of Caesar is always there at the beginning. At the end of the play, you can see the spirit of the Caesar visiting the conspirators. So, it is always the Caesar, the name of the Caesar, repeatedly just announced or told. So, he is always present. Shakespeare wanted us to admire Caesar, and the modern reader may accept Caesar's fearlessness merely as an evidence of vanity and vainglory. So, this is rightly called the tragic death of Caesar. This is the greatest tragedy of Shakespeare, and it has been appreciated by everybody, and this has been prescribed for particularly BA 6th semester. So thank you.